Okay, my name is IRWAN. I'm from the World Islamic Mint. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with what a mint is. You've heard of the Royal Mint of Malaysia. Our function is to mint coins, specifically gold and silver coins. And that's how we are related to the topic of the day. Why gold? Why silver? Why not now? Apparently that's the topic. Before I move on, I would just like to share a few thoughts with the audience today. From our perspective, World Islamic Mints perspective, or for short WIM, investment is a relative term. Okay, most of you, I'm sure, are accounting and finance students. You are very well versed with investment, the word investment, which is to put something into another thing and make it grow. Essentially, that's what investments are. But if you put 1 ounce of gold in your safe box, and keep it in there for 10 years, will it grow? I don't think so. It will still remain 1 ounce of gold after 10 years. So in that sense, from our perspective, gold and silver are not investments, but they are something else much more important than that. But anyway, the reality of today's world is you do invest in gold and silver for the apparent appreciation of these metals, which are defined by depreciation of paper money, which Jonathan and Dr. Ong, or was it Dr. Kong, something, has shared with us just now. But it is much more than that. What I'm going to present to you today, ladies and gentlemen, will unfortunately rewrite your textbooks. Now, who's happy with that? Here you are studying accounting and finance, but I believe not so long into the future, your textbooks will be rewritten. Essentially because gold and silver will rightfully return to its place as being money or currency. Why? Let's have a look. Our agenda for my brief talk today, I'll give you a primer on what dinar and dirham is all about. Dinar and dirham. Some of you may know what it is, some of you may not, so welcome. Dinar dirham in modern times, dinar dirham from options to obligations, and finally the dinar revolution. This is why I'm here today, to talk to you about a revolution. But before you cry out and say, we don't want a Malaysia Spring, because we all have seen the Arab Springs, that is not what this revolution is about. Bear with me and I'll be explaining to you what it's all about. Okay, is it moving? Okay, a long time ago, Muslims minted coins of their own. Okay, that is an early gold dinar. You can find this in some fancy British museums. And that is the early silver dirham. So if you look at the years shown there, this is about 700 common year, common era year, okay? And this is about the same. So, okay, so the dinar is a gold coin, as shown there, and the dirham is a silver coin. Just as simple as that. Next. And what is the standards of the dinar and the dirham? Why is it called a dinar and why is it called a dirham? Simple, because they are based on this very famous standard which has been set by our very early president. His name was Umar, and he said that the weight of 7 dinars is equal to the weight of 10 dirhams. Okay? So that became the standard for Muslims using dinars and dirhams from that year, 634 Common Era, up to today. Okay? Are you all surprised? Yes. Till today, the same standard remains for dinar and dirham. Next. So what were dinar and dirham used for? Of course, in the very early days of humankind, we had to barter. Okay, as Jonathan said, that wasn't too convenient. So we introduced mediums of exchange: grains, salt, seashells, and finally people found gold and silver to be excellent mediums of exchange because it's valuable in complex sizes, readily recognized by almost everyone. So eventually it became bona fide money. And with standards introduced, it became currency. Okay? This was even before the Muslim Empire came about. And when Muslims adopted the gold and silver coins, they made it into Sharia currency because we had our rules and regulations called Sharia, and we denominated certain rules and regulations in the gold and silver currency called dinar and dirham, so it was called the Sharia currency. And that stood for a very long time, more than 1,000 years. And we saw some introduced coins, local versions. For example, in Malaysia, we had the silver coin. Now, most of you are Malaysians. Do you know that we used to have silver coins? This is one of our original silver coins, and you can, if you can read Jawi, you see here is satu ringgit. Okay, now this is the original ringgit. That was in 1903. So remember, from the first gold and silver dinar dirham in 600 something to 1903, we actually had gold and silver money. That is more than 1,000 years. Next please. So what happened? So all around the world, people were using gold and silver. You've seen this pretty lady many times before. She's called the Liberty Lady, apparently. And that's real money. Oh, and there's also silver versions of it. Next. Money was then transformed into something called promissory notes. Let me try. Okay, what is a promissory note? In small print, it says that this paper is redeemable in gold on demand at the United States Treasury. So if you bring this piece of paper, called a promissory note, someone out there has promised you to give a gold coin in return for that piece of paper. So you can say that it is as good as gold, although you're not carrying the real gold itself, but it is as good as gold. Superficially is fine, okay? But I have some problems with it because it's not compatible with certain rules in my beliefs. But anyway, that was the rigor or the standard not so long ago. So what happened then? what happened after the promissory note? I think you can find a clue on this slide, but let me make this into a quiz. Okay, this is $10, right? US dollars, but now it's different. Something else came about. Let me turn this into a quiz. Whoever can give me an answer, the first person who can give me an answer, what comes next, will receive not 1, not 10, but $100. Okay, can I see a show of hands who would like to answer what comes next after promissory notes? Yes. Fiat currency? Spot on. Congratulations to... Okay, I'm being generous today. More than $100. Here you go. Well, that's what it says on the paper. Don't blame me. So, after the promissory notes, we have the premium certificates for gold deposits used for your gold deposits. Ladies and gentlemen, money now, the US dollar, in the words of our former Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir, is as good as toilet paper. Have you been reading his blogs? That's what he said. The US dollar is as good as toilet paper, and congratulations to the person who got it. Okay. Next please. So, we've seen the history of the dinar and the dirham. And suddenly it went AWOL, absent, without leave. And now it's back again, on our shores, in our hands. So who did it? And how did they do it? This is some historical information for you. A few good Muslims realized that this current financial system that we have today, based on fiat money, wasn't applicable to us. So it started from that good guy, Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Sufi. One of his students, the famous Sheikh Omar Ibrahim Badilu, took it upon himself to return the gold dinar and silver dirham to the world, especially to the Muslims. And our current chairman of the World Islamic Mint is Abu Bakr Rida, Rais Mint's president. So these are the founding European Muslims who have brought back modern day dinar and dirham. Next please. And they have gone far and wide in the world to try and bring it to the masses. They've approached the former Prime Minister of Turkey, Dr. Erbakan, the previous King of Morocco, King Hassan, and not too recently, our former Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir. Most regrettably, this statesman could not introduce gold dinar and silver dirham as money because the world's financial system is too ingrained in the system of fiat currencies for any country to independently free itself. There has been attempts, but the results were not good. To remove the influence of the almighty US dollar has been met with disastrous consequences. Just look at Iraq, just look at Libya. Why Iraq? Saddam Hussein became an instant pariah when he forced all his oil to be sold in euro. America didn't like it. Out he goes. Muammar Gaddafi wanted the African Union to reintroduce the gold dinar as a continental currency. America didn't like it, and so did Europe. Off he goes. But those are maybe side issues that we don't have to contemplate over too much. Let's look at what we have done. So the World Islamic Mint in 1992 minted the first modern day dinar and dirham, as shown on the slides there, right on top, in Granada, in Spain. And throughout the years, a few other entities came up with dinars and dirhams, all the way to our latest edition in 2010 for the Kelantan dinar and dirham, as shown there. So, our current standards for the coins, available on our website, are shown here. Essentially, the dinar is 917 gold at 4.25 grams, and the dirhams is 999 silver at 2.975 grams. Okay? That is our current standard in use, but we reserve the right to improve the standards if needs arise. Next, please. So, when we talk about dinar and dirham, unfortunately, there are many dinar and dirhams out there. What is the difference between those dinar and dirhams and what comes from the World Islamic Mint? In public, I have two words about this other dinar and dirham. It is no comment. The reason being, either they are detractors from our true philosophy of why we introduced dinar dirham to the market, or they are just distraction from opportunists who find profit potential in producing their own dirhams or dinars. Because one thing you will realize, if you do enter the industry of gold and silver, and you're very astute in such an industry, you will be very price sensitive. You will realize that the prices of gold and silver products vary from one producer to the other. So not a few people came to us and say, hey, your dirhams are way more expensive than spot silver prices. And we say, yes, of course, because we don't sell spot silver. If you want spot silver prices, find spot silver. Ours are dirhams. And our costings include the responsibility for these coins to function as currency. If the other dirhams and dinars shown on the picture do not include the responsibility, you know then why the difference in prices. So, no comment. Next, please. And on top of that, why WIN silver and gold, dinar, dirham and dinar? Next. The coins are just the tip of the entire activity that we do. We have mints. For now, a subsidiary of the Kelantan State Government, much more to follow soon. We have agents that are called wakalas to get these coins into the public. We have wadiyas. Unique term there, wadiyas. What is a wadiyah? What do you do when you have a lot of gold and silver in your hands? You would want to find places to keep them. Wadiyah is a place to keep your gold and silver coins. And with the facility to keep the gold and silver coins, we are able to introduce payment systems, online access to your gold and silver, and much more contemporary conveniences that you expect to get from your existing banks. So ladies and gentlemen, the Wadiah is essentially a bank for dinar and dirham. And then we have trade network groups, currently organized under a cooperative under formation, so that we can keep track of traders who accepts dinar and dirham as money. Okay, did you get that point? Traders who accept dinar and dirham as money. This is where your textbooks will be rewritten. Money will no longer be the sole domain of fiat or paper currency, but also gold and silver coinage. So you will have to relearn how to balance your books, how to treat these as accounting entries, how to score A's in your exam if the subject of dinar and dirham comes up. Okay, and Dinar Dirham ORG is just a supporting organization. Next please. So today we have officially the dinar and dirham of Kelantan from the state government. You can have more details on the website shown. This is our sticker having the official logo that indicates a trade entity or a shop accepts dinar and dirham for payment. We have our activities, one of which is the Dini Hari Dinar program, a weekly event that calls people to the cause of reintroducing real money. Website has more details on that. And we have markets organized to enable traders, simple traders, to trade using dinar dirham. And all these are activities under the scope of what we call as Mu'amalah Madinah. Mu'amalah simply means the practice or the way. And Madinah refers to the society, the best of society in the early days of the Muslim era that has demonstrated in complete terms how mankind can live and exist in complete harmony. So all the principles, all the tenets of a functioning civilization were in fact demonstrated way back then, even down to the financial or monetary system. That was the best. And if you believe what we are living in today is the best, you are still in a dream. And we also have e-dinar, our electronic version of payment system that you can use to have accounts denominated in dinars and make transactions between account holders. What about dinar and dirham tomorrow? So we have our soon-to-be upgraded standards. These are the latest proposed standards for our coins. There will be more security, better shine quality, and smaller denominations. Now that's important, smaller denominations. Because the smallest dirham that we have today, 1 dirham, is 25 ringgit. I don't think many of us spend 25 ringgit for lunch every day. I don't, unless you are richer than me. And our objective, well, in the short-term future, will be spreading the coins throughout the region. We have users in Singapore. We have users in Indonesia. We have users in southern Philippines, formerly, now called Sulu. And we have users in southern Thailand. mostly concentrations of Muslim communities, but it applies to everyone if you want to take it up. And ultimately, of course, dinar and dirham will go global, whether you like it or not. Gold and silver will return as money. You just have to prepare for it. And we, the World Islamic Mint, is in fact doing the building blocks for this return. Fiat money has never failed to fail in history. Excuse the double negative, but I repeat, fiat money has never failed to fail. So whatever you're holding in your money now, whatever you're holding in your wallets now, it will eventually fail. And when that happens, the symptoms would be hyperinflation, replacement to a new money standard, and so on. And when that happens, you better have contingency plans. Make sure your wealth is not tied to valueless pieces of paper. So in short, our objective is for the global good. I have to read this out. Okay. The outlook of precious metals remains intrinsically tied to the international financial system. We believe that the world will return to a gold and silver monetary standard that has proven to be resilient throughout history, until recently forcibly removed from us. Okay? You are mostly below 30 years old, I believe. Most of you would not have known that the rescission or the act of taking away the gold standard is an act of force. We were not willing parties to it. Your ancestors were not willing parties to it. So the gold standard were removed from us forcibly. Okay? So the indisputable certainty of a fiat failure requires immediate attention and action to ensure the continued functioning of civilization as we know it, by means of introducing, in one way or another, for example, dinar dirham to the people. So when will the world witness dinar dirham? Well, it's already happening now to a small scale. And here we come to the brief revolutionary speech. That is the magic formula for you to follow this revolution. Very simple, right? Sorry, that's not it. Next. Okay. Now these are the numbers that will make you dumb. So get ready to take the leap of faith. If you're not ready to take the leap of faith, then at least dinar dirham. Okay. As of yesterday, today, the dinar is 870 for 1 dinar. Okay, here are some historical figures. When we introduced the dinar in 2010, it was 581. 1 year later, it went up to 880. At the very peak, it was 871. 1 year ago, it was 664, and today it is 870. So you could see the appreciation figures as follows. An average appreciation of 39% so far. Now if you have wealth, would you want to keep it in fixed deposits that offers you measly interest rates? Would you let the higher authority handle your investments in pension funds or unit trusts that gives you paltry returns? Or would you rather have it in gold and silver? I'm showing here the figures for gold. It's much better for silver. So go figure. Now with this in mind, not want to be part of a revolution that is immensely rewarding and it's an immediate reality. You can do it now. We are not, I repeat, we are not introducing dinar dirham to make, just merely to make people rich through our schemes, but it will be a safety measure for your wealth and returning it to the community in general. That is the reward, at least on this earth. And for those of us who believe, we have much more rewards, as it is our obligation to do so. And it is an immediate reality. I know most of you from this multiracial country may not be Muslims. That's fine. But by understanding what the Muslims are doing, you can be part of this wave as well. Because this is where we are heading. And I believe the sensible folks out there running the governments will come to their senses and make the switch sooner or later. You've heard just now, the biggest buyers of gold are formerly China and then India. So billions and billions and billions of people out there are trying to be protected by their respective governments. Muslims are a large number in this world as well. So this is what we are doing. It is natural for you as well to follow the general trend. Okay, before I call our next speaker, to understand the importance of this rush for gold, understand that there's about 8 trillion at today's prices worth of gold. All the mined gold in the world today, that's about 8 trillion. Most of it you can't touch. If you want to buy gold in the market, only a fraction is available. Forget about the rest. In the United States alone, there's more than 50 trillion US dollars. That's not gold, that's the paper money. More than 15 trillion US dollars. And that's just M3. If you count all the derivatives, all the subprimes, that's unimaginable. And definitely, almost all of these 15 trillion US dollars is not backed by gold. And that's just United States. What about the euro? If it's euro, what about the yen? What about the renminbi? These are all money floating around in the world, not backed by anything at all. So what happens when the big crush comes? What happens when everyone realizes that all the people in the money in the world has come to what I've just given to that gentleman just now? Well, at today's prices, there won't be enough gold. The math is simple. You can't buy 8 trillion worth of gold. You can't buy 15 trillion worth of gold if you only have 8 trillion. So what happens is, the price of gold will accelerate upwards until pricing no longer makes sense and fiat collapses. So be among the early ones. If you wait too long, you either have to buy it for a much higher price, or you can't buy it at all because your money is already worthless. So ladies and gentlemen, the real gold rush has already begun. So what about silver? What silver? You've seen the charts shown by Jonathan just now. There's no more silver left to buy. If you're buying paper silver, those exchange-traded funds of silver, you're just buying paper. You won't get those silver delivered to you because there's no silver at those amounts. Shocking. A shocking reality that goes to say, if you want gold or silver, get gold and silver physically, in your hands. Nothing beats that. Don't get into any crazy schemes that offers you special returns, fantastic returns on investments, shown in fancy printed papers or account books. But when you want to get the real thing, they say, I'm sorry, we'll just give you the money, the paper money, because the real thing is actually not there. Okay? So think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my presentation for today. Before I end, there's a fabulous finale. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? The golden egg is there. Did it came from a golden chicken? Or will the chicken come out from the egg? This is a question that the World Islamic Mint has to contend in introducing the dinar and dirham. Do we introduce the coins first and wait the demand from people to come up? Or do we wait for people to demand for it and produce the dinar and dirham? So it's a chicken and egg question. But how we are addressing it is summarized in this mini handout that I'll be distributing to everyone, so you can understand further why dinar, why dirham, what it is all about, and etc. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention.